UFC Seattle, Joe Pyfer versus Izzy ADESANYA. It's here, guys. It's this weekend. James Keller MMA. I'm back. I'm back giving you guys the full card breakdown, full card predictions. And guys, this card's not bad. This card's not too bad. I'm not gonna lie. A decent card stacked from top to bottom. Main evented by the former champ versus a young contender. Um, it's tough to see where Izzy's fallen in his career. Went from, being the GOAT to now fighting Joe Pyfer. But either way, guys, decent card. We're going to get into the full card, breaking it all down. I'm going to give you guys my prediction for the main event. Don't you guys wait for it. I know you guys are wondering, who am I taking? Joe Pyfer, Izzy Adesanya? Who am I taking? Maybe Alexa Grasso, maybe Macy Barber. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that, guys. Hold your horses. We're going to start off with the first fight of the night, and we're going to work our way to the end. Yes, guys, the first fight on the night, the card opener, Alexia Tayanara versus Bruno Brazil. This fight, guys, I'm taking Alexia Tayanara by round one finish. Alexia Tayanara is good, is very, very good. Coming in there at 13-1. She comes in there and she's always looking to push the pace and land big shots. She's always looking to finish her opponents. And against a lady like Bruno Brazil, we all know what Bruno Brazil does. She goes in there and she fights like she's not even trying. She fights like she's not even there. She is part of the fighting nerds, you know, arguably the worst fighting nerd. It's between her and Gene Silva. But either way, Bruno Brazil, 11-6, coming in there off of that loss where she just stood there and got pieced up. I'm taking Alexia Tayanara round one finish. If she doesn't even get the finish, I'm taking Alexia Tayanara, not by finish. I'm going to change up my pick. I'm taking her by decision. I think that this fight will end up going to a decision, but I see Alexia Tayanara landing, and I see her looking for the finish. That's why I took it by a finish, but, you know, either way, I'm taking Alexia Tayanara. Coming on to our next fight, Ricky Simon versus Adrian Yanez. This is a banger matchup in the bantamweight division. Two, once contenders. Now they're kind of, Adrian Yanez is kind of on a little bit of a skid in his career. He was looking decent there for a second, and then he, has that one Rob Font knockout. We all remember that. Ricky Simon's kind of having a resurgence in his career as well. He is coming off of that loss. He's coming off of a loss, but in this fight, I'm taking Ricky Simon. I think that Ricky Simon against Adrian Yanez, this is a bad matchup for our boy. And I'm not, a lot of people are hopping off the Adrian Yanez hype train. He has lost a couple in a row. He does have that knockout loss to Daniel, like I said. I'm not totally off the Adrian Yanez hype train, though. I still think that he has a little bit of potential in this sport. I just think that Ricky Simon is a bad matchup. A gritty grappler who, Ricky Simon's shown that he can get caught on the feet, but I don't see Adrian Yanez catching him. I see Ricky Simon being able to get his takedowns, implement his grappling, maybe even ground and pound Adrian Yanez, hurt him on the ground. I'm taking Ricky Simon by unanimous decision. Yeah, hammered. All right, guys, coming on to our next fight, Navajo Sterling versus Bruno Lopez. This fight is an easy pick'ems. Last card I did pretty good. This card I'm feeling pretty confident as well. Navajo Sterling versus Bruno Lopez. I'm taking Navajo Sterling by round one knockout. A lot of people are hating on Navajo Sterling, from his last performances. He hasn't looked the greatest. He's getting wins in the UFC, but he's not finishing these dudes. He's going in there as a huge favorite, and people are expecting him to get these massive finishes. And I think that's what he's going to do against Bruno Lopez. Bruno Lopez has shown that if you land clean on him, he's able to get hurt and to be put away and to get rocked, And against a dude like Navajo Sterling, who hits hard, is very fast, has power on the feet, I see Navajo Sterling putting Bruno Lopez away with the first big couple shots that he lands. I'm taking Navajo Sterling by round one knockout. I don't see Bruno Lopez giving him any troubles on the feet and the grappling. I know Navajo Sterling is still young in his career. He's only 8-0. He hasn't really been tested so far yet in his career. Hasn't really faced the toughest competition. But yeah, I don't think that he's going to have any problems against Bruno Lopez. I think he's gonna knock him out. I'm taking Navajo Sterling by round 1 knockout. Even if this fight ends up making it to a round 2 or round 3, I still see Navajo Sterling being the quicker, more powerful striker on the feet, keeping this fight on the feet. I'm taking Navajo Sterling by round 1 knockout. Hammer it. Now, next fight on the card, we got Casey O'Neill versus Gabriela Fernandez. Now, I'm taking Casey O'Neill in this fight. I know that Gabriela Fernandez is a very strong, powerful women's flyweight fighter, and usually in these fights, that is the in these women's flyweight fights, that's the determining factor, is who's the more powerful, who hits harder on the feet. And I'm feeling nervous with this pick. This is kind of a nerve-wracking pick. Casey O'Neill is the underdog. I'm taking Casey O'Neill, though. I think Casey O'Neill will land more shots on the feet. She is the more busy fighter. She has the more active style. She likes to go in there, and she likes to just be active on the feet. Land her little shots, not big, powerful shots enough to hurt you and put you away, but enough to stay active and enough to win rounds. And against Gabriela Fernandez, if she's not able to get hit by the big shots, I see Casey O'Neill landing those shots of her own, tagging her up on the feet, winning the unanimous decision. The only way I see Gabriela Fernandez winning this is if she's able to hurt Casey O'Neill, landing a big bomb. Like I said, Gabriela Fernandez hits hard. Not a bad women's flyweight. She is very, very strong for women's flyweight, but I'm taking Casey O'Neill. I see Casey O'Neill being the more active fighter. I can't take the power, patient power puncher, which that's the game plan of Gabriela Fernandez. She likes to wait for her moments, wait for her big shots. And against Casey O'Neill, I think that while she's waiting, she's just going to be getting tagged up by the little pitter-patter shots. Bing, 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 bing. Casey O'Neill tagging her up for 3 rounds, winning the unanimous decision, not allowing Gabriela Fernandez to, implement her own striking. Yeah, I'm taking Casey O'Neill by decision. Hammer it. Okay, guys. Marcin Tybura, next fight on the night. Marcin Tybura versus Tyrell Fortune. Now, I'm taking Tyrell Fortune. I know that Marcin Tybura is 27-10. I know that he's coming in there off of a loss. And this is Tyrell's debut in the UFC. He's coming in there. He's 35 years old, 17-3. But Tyrell, it's not even Tyrell that I'm really high on. It's more Marcin Tybura. Tyrell is a part of this new generation of heavyweights that is coming in, this young, fast, powerful heavyweights that are coming in and putting away these older guys, the older generation that Marcin Tybura is a part of. These old, slow, sluggish heavyweights that really don't do much. And I think that Marcin Tybura is going to get put away quick against Tyrell Fortune. I think that Tyrell is a faster, more powerful striker, and I see him going in there landing big, landing early, and knocking out Marcin Tybura. I know that Marcin Tybura, I'm talking about him like he's the worst. He's not that bad. He's a decent fighter. 27-10 is not the best record, but it has a lot of fights. Tyrell Fortune's coming in there, though, 17-3. He's he has a decent amount of experience. I was going to say he's no slouch. And I see him landing big, powerful shots on Marcin Tybura, putting him away quick, elevating himself in the heavyweight division. These heavyweights, there's if you are a heavyweight and you are fast, accurate, you hit hard, you're looking for a finish. We saw Sergey Pavlovich did this. He went in there and just started knocking dudes out, and then met Tom Aspinall for the interim title. But if you can just go in there and put hands on these older, slower heavyweights, you can find success. And I see Tyrell Fortune doing that. I see him going in there, putting hands on Marcin Tybura, ending it in round 1. Tyrell Fortune, round 1, knockout. That's what I'm taking. Hammer it. Okay, guys, next fight on the night, we got Chase Hooper versus Lance Gibson Jr. Both these dudes are coming in there off of a loss. Chase Hooper is coming in there off of his Alexander Hernandez loss, where he got blasted with that overhand and put away. That was a bad loss. If Chase Hooper loses, it's in terrible fashion. We all remember the Steve Garcia knockout. That was a bad one. He got dropped like 10 times in that fight. And Lance Gibson Jr. is coming in there off of that Bobby Green loss. which, losing to Bobby Green, it's kind of shameful. It's kind of not shameful. It kind of happens. And who am I taking in this fight? Who am I taking? Chase Hooper versus Lance Gibson Jr. I'm taking Chase Hooper. I think that Chase Hooper will be able to get takedowns and implement his grappling. That is the game plan of Chase Hooper. That is the reason he is able to compete with these dudes in the UFC is he has a very elite grappling game. He's levels above most dudes at lightweight. And Lance Gibson Jr., I don't see him competing on the ground with Chase Hooper. I see Chase Hooper being able to get a takedown, maybe get the back of Lance Gibson Jr., find a choke, find the finish. If you were able to defend the takedowns of Chase Hooper, it's going to be a bad night for Chase Hooper. If you're able to stuff the grappling. I don't see Lance Gibson, though, being athletic enough, hitting hard enough on the feet to really, stop the forward pressure of Chase Hooper and the forward grappling momentum. I see that Chase Hooper, walking forward, attempting takedowns. Lance Gibson, ultimately allowing the takedowns to happen. Like I said, Chase Hooper is levels above these guys at lightweight. Chase Hooper is good. Like I said, Chase Hooper is very good. He has a very good grappling game. Lance Gibson, I don't see him keeping up. I see him getting finished early, quick. I'm taking the round 2 submission. I see this fight maybe first round. They go out there. Chase Hooper looks for the takedown, gets the takedown, maybe gets dominant control. Maybe he takes the back, but doesn't get the finish. And then round 2 finds the finish. That's the way I see this fight going. I don't think that Lance Gibson Jr. is going to be able to compete, and I don't see him having the power on the feet enough to knock out Chase Hooper or to stop his takedowns. I'm taking Chase Hooper by round 2 submission. I'm feeling good about that pick. Okay, guys, last fight on the prelims. This fight is going to be a banger. Holy smokes. Ignacio Bahamondes versus Tofik Mosaev. Now, we all know Ignacio Bahamondes. We know him as the lengthy striker. He has that... We all know Ignacio Bahamondes. I'm a big fan of Ignacio Bahamondes from that one spinning wheel kick knockout. We all remember the triangle choke over Jalen Turner that kind of made Jalen Turner retire there for a second. Tofik Mosaev is a very, very powerful guy, though. Hits hard. He's a powerful puncher. Now, Tofik is a very, very powerful puncher. He hits hard. He's always looking for that big knockout. Against Ignacio Bahamondes, who am I taking? I'm taking Ignacio Bahamondes. And the reason I'm taking Ignacio Bahamondes, the difference being, is in the striking defense. I know that Ignacio has shown that, he does have that ability to get caught in his fights. He doesn't have the cleanest striking defense, but he is tall. He has that long guard. Against Tofik Mosaev, I see him avoiding the big power shots on the feet and landing clean of his own. And also, I see Ignacio having a large advantage in the grappling. If Tofik ends up trying to, take down Ignacio, or if this fight ever, ends up on the mat, I see Ignacio having a huge grappling advantage, maybe even being able to finish the fight on the mat with the submission. We haven't really seen the submission game of Ignacio Bahamondes, except for that Jalen Turner win, like I said. But I think that he does have a very, very dangerous ground game. He's very lethal off of his back. I think that he is, if this fight does make it to the ground, I think that he'll be looking for the submission over Tofik. I don't see that happening, though. I see this being a majority striking exchange. I see Ignacio Bahamondes winning it on the feet, landing the bigger, cleaner shots, just being the longer, more accurate, more technical striker. Tofik does hit hard, like I said, but with that power, he throws a lot of big power punches, a lot of big power hooks, but he leaves himself open. He leaves himself open to get countered. And same with Ignacio. Ignacio, leaves himself open to get countered, but Ignacio has fought the tougher competition, and I see him going in there and winning this fight, looking cleaner on the feet, being the better grappler. I'm taking Ignacio Bahamondes by decision. I see this fight being a war. If Ignacio ends up finishing it, I see it being in the later rounds, maybe a round 3 finish. But I see this fight going to a decision. I'm taking Ignacio Bahamondes by unanimous, maybe even split decision. But I'm taking Ignacio Bahamondes by decision. Okay, guys, coming on to our main card opener, Terrence McKinney versus Kyle Nelson. Now, Terrence McKinney should win this fight very easily. Kyle Nelson is not good. He's been knocked out. He's been submitted before. Terrence McKinney has been knocked out as well, has been submitted before, yes. But Terrence McKinney is the more powerful, cleaner striker, hits harder on the feet, is the better grappler, has just the more finishing ability overall. Kyle Nelson, I don't see Kyle Nelson being able to threaten the finish over Terrence McKinney. And Terrence McKinney is able to go in there and knock out Kyle Nelson, submit him on the ground, hurt him on the feet. I see Terrence McKinney winning this fight early. If he loses this, it might be the end for Terrence McKinney. Losing to Kyle Nelson, a man who's proven that he's not that good. Yeah, I don't know what's next for Terrence McKinney, but I think he goes out there and has a signature Terrence McKinney fight where he goes out there and knocks this guy out, and then his next fight gets finished brutally. We'll see though. We'll see what happens. I'm taking Terrence McKinney by round 1 knockout over Kyle Nelson. Kyle Nelson is terrible, very very weak for the lightweight division. Like I said, has been knocked out, has been submitted. That's not saying that Terrence McKinney hasn't been, but Terrence McKinney just hits harder, is the cleaner striker. Goes out there looking for finishes. It's either he's the type of guy that he either gets finished or he gets a finish, and Kyle Nelson's the type of guy that just gets finished. Kyle Nelson isn't looking for the finish on his opponent. He just goes out there and gets finished, and this is for Terrence McKinney to go out there and finish him. I see Terrence McKinney putting hands on him early, maybe even submitting him early. But yeah, I'm taking him by round 1 finish. I'm taking a lot of finishes on this card. That's just how I'm feeling. I'm feeling like it's going to be a good card. Okay, guys, next fight on the night, Mansour Abdulmalik versus Yusri Belgari. This fight is a banger. I'm not going to lie. Undefeated Mansour versus 9-3 Yusri Belgari. Now, Mansour Abdulmalik has always been the big favorite going into his fights. He's been the like plus 500 something, but he's been fighting not the best competition. He fought Antonio Tricoli, he fought Nick Klein, he fought Cody Brundage, and against Yusri Belgari, I see him having problems. I see this being the toughest test yet in the UFC. I don't see Yusri being a slouch like the other guys he fought. I don't see him just being a pushover. Now, Cody Brundage isn't the worst, but I think that Yusri is way better than all 3 of those guys that I mentioned. And if he is able to defend the takedowns, defend the grappling of Mansour, and keep this fight on the feet, I see him landing the bigger, cleaner shots, having the better jab. He's so much taller and longer than Mansour. I know that Mansour is big at 6'2", but Yusri Belgari is like 6'5", 6'6", super long reach. Former kickboxer, has all those kickboxing fights. That's the way I see this fight going, is it being majority on the feet, Yusri Belgari landing the cleaner, more technical shots, landing just the cleaner jabs, landing the cleaner leg kicks, using that to build onto his striking, build onto his kickboxing style. And if Mansour Abdulmalik's not able to get the takedown, I see him having some trouble. Getting a little worried. He hasn't fought a guy like Belgari in the UFC. He's been fighting these guys who haven't really been able to show him some adversity, show him some challenge, some weaknesses in his game. I was gonna say, he's 9-0. Hasn't faced adversity, and I see Yusri Belgari giving him some adversity in this fight. I see him stuffing the takedowns, avoiding the shots. Every single fight that Belgari has coming into, he's just been looking better and better, advancing his MMA game. I see him winning this fight. I see him keeping it on the feet, tagging up Mansour, winning the unanimous decision if he's not able to finish. I'm taking this fight by decision, just by a unanimous Yusri decision. But yeah, I see Mansour struggling in there, taking his first loss. Let's go. All right, guys, going on to our next fight. We got a featherweight bout, Juliana Rosa versus Le'Veon Douglas. Now, Juliana Rosa is 31-13. You know, not the best record. Um, Douglas is coming in there. This is his UFC debut. He is 13-5, which isn't the best record either. But Douglas hits like a truck, guys. This dude Douglas, and against Juliana Rosa, who's a fighter who's been knocked out many times, I see Le'Veon Douglas landing a big knockout shot early. This is a knockout puncher versus a man who's been knocked out multiple times. You can't not take Le'Veon Douglas. If he lands a big power hook, big power overhand on the chin of Juliana Rosa, it's all over. It's all over. Night. Le'Veon Douglas, he throws with intention of taking your head off. He throws with the intention of blasting you. Bam! Blasting you with the big shots. That's all he's throwing is big hooks, big overhands. And Juliana Rosa, I don't see him being able to defend. And Julian, I don't see Julian avoiding the power shots for 3 rounds. I see him getting caught. Like I said, he's been knocked out multiple times. He's shown that he can get hit, he can get caught, he can get put away. And against a power puncher like Douglas, you can't not take Le'Veon Douglas. I'm taking Le'Veon Douglas by a round 1 knockout all over Juliana Rosa. Yeah. I don't know. I think that Juliana Rosa should be looking towards retirement. I know that, he has some good wins in the UFC. He does, have some performances where he doesn't look terrible. But if he gets knocked out bad against Douglas out there, I think that he should be looking towards retirement. And for Le'Veon Douglas, we'll see what the future holds for him after this fight. We'll see if he can go out there and put on a good performance. We'll see what happens. I'm taking Le'Veon Douglas, though, by a round 1 knockout. Yes. Okay, guys, coming on to our feature fight. Michael Chiesa versus Niko Price. Michael Chiesa has the most Dana White privilege out of anybody on the card, 1,000,000%. We all know that Michael Chiesa got hit by that dolly one time, and now the UFC owes him for life, giving him these layup matchups, giving him these what are these matchups for Michael Chiesa? If we look back on the Michael Chiesa run, fighting Niko Price, Tony Ferguson, I don't know what we're doing. This is Michael Chiesa's retirement fight, and I see him retiring on a win. I see him putting away Niko Price early. Niko Price is terrible. Niko Price has been knocked out, submitted. He's, just getting put through the ringer. Now, he does have, I love the Niko Price knockouts from the bottom. He does have 2 knockouts from the bottom. The one against Randy Brown where he, slept him, and then the one against James Vick where he hit him with the up kick. One of my all-time favorite knockouts. But besides that, Niko Price, 16-10. We remember him getting slept against Robbie Lawler. He got submitted against Jacoby Smith. I see him getting submitted in this fight. I see Michael Chiesa getting the early takedown quick, get in the back, choking him out. A layup fight for Michael Chiesa, really. I wonder what this dude has on the UFC besides just getting hit by a dolly. No way that's just it. There's got to be more. He can't keep getting away with this. But yeah, Michael Chiesa, round 1 submission. Easy fight for our boy. What are we doing? Okay, guys, coming on to the rematch, guys. The co-main event, the fight everyone's been waiting for. Alexa Grasso versus Macy Barber. Oh, boys, the most anticipated rematch. I'm really surprised this fight isn't the main event over Adesanya and Pyfer. I might have to talk to my boy Dana White about that. But, yeah, still, guys, Macy Barber, Alexa Grasso, who am I taking? A lot of people are taking Macy Barber going in there in this rematch. And if you are one of those people, you're wrong. Alexa Grasso is going to go out there. She's going to win. She's going to look good. Alexa Grasso is on a 2-fight losing streak. She did have that draw. So it's like 3 fights where she hasn't got a win yet. Before those 2 losses, she had that draw with Valentina, and then she lost to Valentina. And then she fought Natalia Silva. So I know she is on a 3-fight kind of skid, but the level of competition she is facing, Natalia Silva and Valentina Shevchenko, come on, guys. Versus the competition Macy Barber is facing, I'm taking Alexa Grasso. Alexa Grasso is going to go in there and look cleaner, look better on the feet, have the better cardio, have the better grappling, just being the overall more well-rounded fighter. And, she's coming in there off of 2 losses. I see her having a bounce-back win, much like the first fight, winning easily, dominantly. I'm taking Alexa Grasso in the rematch. Hammer it. Okay, guys, coming on to the main event. The main reason you guys are here. Joe Pyfer. Me, Joe Pyfer. I came from nothing. I was sleeping on a park bench. That's my Joe Pyfer impression. Against Israel Adesanya. You guys don't want to hear my Israel Adesanya impression. But yeah, who am I taking in this main event? A lot of people are taking Joe Pyfer. Be something, guys. Be Joe. I'm not taking Joe Pyfer. I'm taking Israel Adesanya. Now, yes, I'm not too high on Israel Adesanya. He is 1-4 in his last 5, being finished in 3 of those. Getting knocked out by Nasruddin Imavov in his last fight. That one was a really bad one. I had Izzy winning that fight going in there, and he got knocked out. It's hard to pick him. It's hard to pick him coming off of that loss, especially to a guy like Nasruddin, who doesn't hit as hard as Joe Pyfer, who isn't looking to take your head off as much as Joe Pyfer. But I see Israel Adesanya having a vintage clean performance. I know that it's tough to say vintage when he's so far removed from his prime. But I see him going out there and looking clean, landing the cleaner shots, landing his leg kicks, landing his signature leg kicks and jab. That's what I see happening. Kind of stunning Joe Pyfer. We saw Joe Pyfer get sort of stunned against Jack Hermanson in their fight. Joe Pyfer is a very patient power puncher. He kind of waits and sits for a shot. He doesn't ever throw too much. He doesn't ever overextend with his combos. He always is looking for that power shot, though. And I think that if Israel can go in there and, overload the nervous system of Joe Pyfer, I can see him getting a unanimous decision win. That is easier said than done, though. Israel is on the tailor end of his career. Joe Pyfer is the younger, more powerful, has the better chin, and is just hungrier, wanting this more in his career. Israel Adesanya, I don't even know what this win does for him. And I'm sure he's thinking the same thing. I'm sure he's thinking that, I need to go out there and get a win, but I don't know what the mentality is of Israel Adesanya. And if he does go out there and get starched against Joe Pyfer, I could see this being the last one. Being 1-5 in his last 6, getting finished in 4 of his last 5. Like, it's not a good look. I don't see that happening, though. I see Israel Adesanya having a OG performance, landing the leg kicks, landing the jab, keeping his range, keeping his distance. And winning a unanimous decision. If Joe Pyfer is able to win this fight, the way I see him winning it is by landing that big old knockout shot, bing, right on the chin of Israel Adesanya, which is very possible. Very possible. It's been shown by Nasruddin Imavov that if you extend those punches and Israel Adesanya is leaning back, his chin's there to be hit. But I don't see that happening. I see Israel Adesanya avoiding the big power shots on the feet, landing clean shots of his own, keeping his distance. If the fight goes from, later in round 1, goes to round 2, goes to round 3, I see this fight being a more Israel Adesanya one. The later this fight goes, I see Israel Adesanya picking up his pace, picking up his game plan, doing what he does. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not too confident in my pick. The reason I have to take Adesanya though is because I'm not too confident in Joe Pyfer. And I know, I know the meme that everyone's saying, like you guys are saying, oh, Joe Pyfer lost to Jack Hermanson. Like, what's Izzy been doing? Uh, but yeah, Izzy's lost to some tough guys, Nasser Dean, Dreekis, and Sean. And I just see him being better than Joe Pyfer. I hope that this isn't the end of his career. I hope that, he still does have a little bit of juice left in the tank, just enough to stop this boy Joe Pyfer from knocking him out. We'll see. We'll see though. Either way, guys, UFC Seattle, decent card. I cannot wait. I'm excited to watch it. Let me know your guys' predictions down below. Let me know if you guys, are enjoying the prediction video. I know last week we did really, really good on the predictions. I hope this week we can do the same. Yeah, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will be making a recap video once this event is over. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for the Joe Pyfer Israel Adesanya recap video. And I'm out. Peace.